Hello friends, here is day 3 of our lesson 21 slides. This is the last set of slides for lesson 21. It was another short lesson, so we will be taking our comprehension check on the number line and putting fractions on a number line next week. So if you need to, make sure you're going back and walking through these videos and having someone walk through them with you maybe and just try to get some practice in. I'm going to try to give you some more practice next week before the quiz, but just so you know, there will be a quiz on this next week, so make sure you're paying attention and practicing. So, Amira says that A is at 7/8. Is she right? Explain. So, first things first, we need to go and check what our denominator is going to be by counting the dashes. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we already know that the denominator is going to be 4. So she already seems wrong to us, but let's keep going just to make sure. So we have 4 4/4, right? Now we have 5/4 because we're going past the 1, so now we're going to go over a whole. So 5/4, 6/4, 7/4, 8/4. Okay, so this is 7/4, not 7/8. So why do you think she put an 8? Remember to pause and take some notes, do some practice if you need to. So it looks like she did the 8 because instead of keeping the denominator at 4 when she hit the 1, it seems like she doubled when she went from 1 to 2. She doubled it and changed her denominator to 8. So she counted the number of equal parts on the whole number line to find the denominator, but she should have counted the equal number of parts between 0 and 1 like we did. Because if we keep going, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's what she did. She went and counted everything instead of stopping in between the first set of whole numbers. Because remember, fractions label the in between of two whole numbers. So you need to stop after you hit the 1, and that's what your denominator is going to be. If you go to the 2, that is not correct. You need to go in between one set of whole numbers. So then she would know the line is divided into fourths instead, and then she would have gotten 7/4 like we did. So now, use the number line, pause to do it. Use the number line to show the fraction 5/6. Now remember, the denominator is important. The denominator is the number of equal parts in our picture, our model, our number line. So in between 0 and 1, you should have 5 dashes because the 1 acts as your 6/6 or your whole. So from here to here, you need to equally space out 5 lines to make 6 equal parts of this number line. So pause if you need to make the time to do that. Make sure you have 6 equal parts on your number line. You need 6 equal parts. And then once you have that, you need to go and label 5/6. So then you can go and count on your numerator until you get to 5/6 and then plop that on the number line. Like I said, if you need to, go in and label every single one and then just circle 5/6. So 5/6 would be very close to 1 because obviously the next part would be 6/6, which is one whole. So 5/6 is going to be the one directly to the left of our one whole. So if you divide the whole into 6 equal parts and then you count 5 parts, that's where your 5/6 will be. So now use the number line below to show that there are 8/8 in one whole. So now we're going to use 8ths as our denominator, and we need to label it to show that there is 8/8 in this number line, or one whole. So let's make sure we still even have 8 equal pieces. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we do have 8 equal pieces. So now we need to go and label our number line to show how 1/8 can turn into 8/8 or one whole. So we're going to start with labeling 1/8 like we did in previous slides. Then we're going to add 1 to our numerator to 2/8, and then you're going to continue until you get to 8/8. So pause and figure that out, and then when you come back, the answer to the number line will be up. So make sure you're taking your time and really doing these problems out, okay? So it would go 0, obviously, then 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 8/8. And that shows that from here to here, there's 8 equal pieces, or 8/8, 1 whole, however you want to look at it. So now, Zara and John are hiking on a trail that is 2 miles long. There are signs to mark each eighth of a mile along its trail. So it's 2 miles long, and signs mark each eighth of a mile. Sounds like we're going to have a number line with eighths, and it sounds like we're going to have a number line from 0 to 2. So now you need to draw a number line to show the length of the trail, then mark the number line off to show where each sign is. So you're going to go and make a number line from 0 to 2, and then in between 0 and 1, you need 8/8, and then in between 1 and 2, you need 8/8, because in between every mile is going to be 8/8, because at every eighth of a mile, you're going to have a sign. So very similar to the one we did here. So this is going to be your 0 to 1, and you're going to do the same thing for 1 to 2. So go ahead, pause, do that now, because when you come back, the answer will be up. Okay? So if we look, we have a number line from 0 to 2, like we said, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 8/8 there. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8/8 there. So all together, let's see how many eighths we have. We have 8 here, so then 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So we have 16 eighths, and we know that 16 divided by 8 is 2, so we know that we did it equally, and we know we figured it out correctly. Now, let's go back to part B. Zara stops for water at the 3/8 mile sign. John stops to rest after 12/8 miles. So now we need to label the 3/8 mark and the 12/8 mark. The 3/8 is going to be marked Z for Zara, and the 12/8 mark is going to be marked J for John. So let's go back into that number line, and if we look at 3/8, we should have Zara. So 1/8, 2/8, and 3/8, we have Zara stopping for water. And then we need to label the 12/8 for John, because that's when he stops to rest. So we know from 0 to 1 is 8/8, right? We don't have to recount 0 to 1. We know that 1 is 8/8, but we need 12, so we're going to keep going. So we have 9/8, 10/8, 11/8, and 12/8, and that's what we're going to label a J for John, because that's where he stopped for a break. So, looking at part C, who stops before the 1 mile mark? Who stops after the 1 mile mark? Explain how you know. So this 1 represents our 1 mile, because the trail is 2 miles long. So this 1 is equal to 1 mile. So who stops before? We can check and see the Z, meaning Zara. So Zara stops before the mile, and that obviously means that John stops after the mile. So Zara stops before and John stops after. Zara stops at 3/8 and John stops at 12/8. In 3/8, the numerator is less than the denominator, so the fraction is less than 1. In 12/8, the numerator is greater than the denominator, so the fraction is greater than 1. And we talked about that earlier in the week, how if the numerator and denominator are the same, it's 1. So if obviously the numerator is bigger than the denominator, it's greater than 1. And then if it's lower than the denominator, it's obviously less than 1. So, explain how to show 3/4 on a number line and use a drawing to help. So now you need to go make a number line from 0 to 1, because you don't need to go over 1 for this one. And you need to label 3/4. So look at your denominator. That's step 1. The denominator is 4. So that means you need 4 equal groups to work this number line. And then from there, you're going to make sure you have 4 equal parts. Then you're going to go back in, and you can either label all of the parts, or you can just label 3/4, whatever works best for you and makes the most sense to you. Pause while you can and make your number lines, because when you come back, obviously, it will have the answer for you to review and check your work. So we need to find 3/4 on a number line. So a possible answer is to draw a number line and mark 0 and 1, then divide the whole from 0 to 1 into 4 equal parts. Starting at 0, count by 1/4 until you reach 3/4 and mark 3/4. Now, if you think about it in the sense of being on a number line, 3/4 is closer to 0/4 or 4/4. Obviously, it's closer to 4/4 or 1 whole, so your 3/4 should be closer to the 1 as opposed to closer to the 0. So make sure you're checking your work and thinking about things like that. That way you're making sure your answers make sense as well and you're not just randomly plopping dots and labels on a number line, okay? So that is your slides for today. Now you need to go and complete your independent practice. Remember, these videos stay up on the screen, well, not on the screen, on Google Classroom. If they're not under the day, they're under past math assignments or lesson 21 assignments. They're there for you to use because you need to be practicing. If you don't understand it, those are resources you can use that will help you get extra practice, help you get some better understanding. That way, when you get to the quiz, it's not so much of a surprise, okay? So just keep trying your best. If you need anything, I'm here. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Good luck on your independent practice.